A landform is any natural feature on the Earth's surface. They include mountains, valleys, rivers, lakes, and coasts. Anything that isn't created or caused by man. This lesson focuses on landforms created by waves, or in other words, coastal landforms. Waves are powerful, and they can do a lot to the land that they crash into. There are many specific types of coastal landforms, including stacks, stumps, caves, arches, bays, coves, beaches, and cliffs. So let's go through them and talk about exactly how waves shape our coasts. Cliffs are vertical or near-vertical walls of rock along the coast. The angles of the walls can vary, but they all transform into cliffs the same way. Cliffs start to form when waves begin crashing into the bottom of what will become the cliff. They cause erosion there and begin cutting away a hole or notch. Water takes the weathered rock away with it and deposits it elsewhere. This process is made faster by the presence of tiny bits of rock and sediment in the water itself, which are launched at the cliff. The upper part of the rock wall is also worn away from chemical processes like acid rain, and physical processes like water freezing and cracks, which causes them to open more. The upper rock becomes weaker and eventually collapses, forming a cliff. Caves, arches, stacks, and stumps are all formed as part of the same basic process. It starts with waves hitting vertical faults or lines of weakness in rock along the coast. The water erodes these faults, making the cracks larger and larger. Eventually, the erosion causes caves to form in these areas. If the caves are on an outcrop from the coast, the water can erode all the way through, forming an arch. The process continues until the arch becomes so small and weak that it collapses, creating a stack, or vertical column of rock. Finally, these stacks can weather away, leaving a stump. Coves are created where there is stronger rock along the coast and weaker rock further inland. If the waves are able to break through a fault in the stronger rock, they can suddenly have access to all the weaker rock. The waves wear away the weaker rock behind the stronger rock, forming a circular cove. So for this to happen, bands of different types of rock have to be running parallel to the coast, or at 90 degrees to the direction the waves are moving. But what if the bands of rock types are running at 90 degrees to the coast, in the same direction as the waves are moving? In that case, you get a series of bays and headlands. The softer rock is worn away to create bays with sandy beaches. The tougher rock is worn away less, creating headlands. A landform is any natural feature of the Earth's surface. Coastal landforms are created by waves and include stacks, stumps, caves, arches, bays, coves, beaches, and cliffs. Cliffs are vertical or near-vertical walls of rock along the coast. The angles of the rock walls can vary, but they all transform into cliffs the same way. The waves start hitting at the bottom of what will become the cliff and cause erosion there, cutting away a hole or notch. The upper rock eventually collapses, forming a cliff. Stacks, stumps, arches, and caves are all formed as part of the same basic process. It starts with waves hitting vertical faults, or lines of weakness in rock. The water erodes these faults, making cracks larger and larger. Eventually, the water causes caves to form in these areas. If the water erodes all the way through, you get an arch. When the arch collapses, you end up with a stack, and if the upper part of the stack collapses, you have a stump. Coves are created where you have stronger rock along the coast and weaker rock further inland. In this case, the bands of rock run parallel to the coast. If waves are able to break through a fault in the stronger rock, they gain access to all the weaker rock and wear it away behind the stronger rock, forming a circular cove. If bands of rock run at 90 degrees to the coast, you get a series of bays and headlands. The softer rock is worn away to create bays with sandy beaches. The tougher rock is worn away less, creating headlands.